I never imagined that saying yes to this forced engagement would cost me everything I held dear. At first, I thought it was just a duty of family arrangement I had no control over. But soon, I realized it was a trap. A trap set by the people I trusted most. The night it all came crashing down, I was alone in the dimly lit living room, clutching a letter that tore my heart into pieces. "You don't belong here," it said. "You're nothing but a pawn." Those words weren't just ink on paper. They were the cold truth whispered behind my back. My family, those I thought would protect me, were the very ones who betrayed me. I wanted to scream, to run away, but the walls around me were closing in. I was trapped in a nightmare I didn't sign up for. And the worst part? The man I was forced to marry, he wasn't innocent either. Behind his polite smile was a secret darker than I could imagine. I thought love might save me. But love was the last thing on his mind. I was a prize to be won, a burden to be passed around. That's when I decided I would fight. Not just for my freedom, but for my very soul. But little did I know fighting back would mean unraveling secrets that could destroy more than just my forced engagement. It would tear apart my entire family. And it would make me question everything I ever believed about trust, loyalty, and betrayal. This is my story. A story of forced promises, hidden lies, and a betrayal that cut deeper than any blade. Because sometimes, the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. Before all the chaos, I was just me, Aaliya, a simple girl with simple dreams. Growing up, I always thought family meant unconditional love. I was the youngest in a close-knit household, spoiled in small ways, but loved deeply by my parents and older sister, Hina. Hina and I were inseparable. She was the light of my life, my protector, my best friend. We shared secrets in the moonlight and made plans for the future as if the world was ours for the taking. I admired her strength and independence, and she always told me I had a heart bigger than anyone she knew. Our parents weren't wealthy, but they worked hard to give us everything we needed. Mom's hands were always busy with cooking or sewing, while Dad's quiet smiles made the house feel safe. We lived modestly, but there was laughter in every corner, warmth in every word. Then came the whispers, family meetings filled with heavy looks and hushed voices. The news hit me like a storm. A forced engagement had been arranged for me with Armaan, a man from a powerful family we barely knew. I wasn't consulted, no one asked if I wanted this. They said it was for the family's honor, for securing our future. At first I was angry, confused, and scared, but I told myself I would make the best of it. Armaan was different from anyone I'd met. Polite, handsome, and from the outside, perfect. Our meetings were formal, cold, nothing like the fairy tales I'd read. But I tried to believe that maybe, just maybe, something real could grow between us.
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.
Just maybe, something real could grow between us. My sister Henna was my only refuge during this time. She promised she'd always stand by me, no matter what. "We'll get through this together," she whispered once, holding my trembling hands. Even Mom tried to comfort me, though her eyes betrayed worry I couldn't shake. Dad, however, grew distant, his usual warmth replaced by stern silence. I guess the burden of this alliance weighed heavily on him too. Outside of family, I had a small circle of friends who didn't know the full story. They saw me smile, joked with me, but I was holding a secret pain deep inside. I longed for freedom, for a life I could choose for myself but felt trapped by invisible chains. Sometimes, late at night, I would sit by the window, staring at the stars, imagining a different path. One where love wasn't forced, where I wasn't a bargaining chip in someone else's game. Despite everything, a part of me hoped Armaan would prove me wrong. Maybe he wasn't the enemy. Maybe this forced engagement could be the start of something unexpected. But beneath his calm exterior, I sensed something else. A coldness in his eyes when he thought I wasn't looking. A distance that no words could bridge. Looking back now, I realize how blind I was, how I let hope blind me from the warning signs. Because sometimes, the hardest betrayals come wrapped in the people you're forced to trust the most. Everything started to unravel the night I decided to surprise Armaan at his family's mansion. It wasn't planned, just a sudden urge to break the cold routine between us. I wanted to show him I cared, maybe crack the walls around his guarded heart. I arrived early, the grand gates opening with a slow creak as the guards recognized me. The house was enormous, luxurious, but cold, like a palace built on secrets. I waited in the dimly lit lounge, nervously smoothing my dress. Armaan had said he'd be back soon from a meeting. The silence pressed on me like a weight. Then, his phone buzzed on the table. I hesitated, but couldn't help myself. He glanced at the screen. A message appeared, and the name froze my blood. "Can't wait to see you tonight." My hands trembled. Who was she? I was about to put the phone down when the screen lit up again with another message. "Don't worry about her. I'm yours." I felt my breath catch. This wasn't just a random text, it was a secret kept from me. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Armaan entered, calm and collected, but his eyes flicked toward his phone, like he expected me to be there, yet somehow thought I wouldn't notice. I swallowed my shock and forced a smile. "You're late." He gave a curt nod. Work ran over. I wanted to ask about the messages, demand answers, but my voice caught in my throat. Instead, I watched him as he sat across from me. His usual charm felt hollow. Later that evening, I decided to follow him secretly. I knew it was risky, but I needed to know the truth. He left the mansion in a sleek black car, heading into the city's shadows. I trailed him on foot, heart pounding. He stopped at a small cafe, one I'd never heard him mention before. I hid behind a pillar, watching as he met a woman. They smiled, their closeness too intimate for a man supposedly committed to me. She touched his arm lightly, and he leaned in, whispering something that made her laugh softly. I felt a sting that no words could explain. The betrayal wasn't just in the text message as it was here, real and undeniable. But I didn't run. I didn't scream. I watched. I waited. Because now, I had a secret of my own. I wasn't going to be the pawn anymore. After that night, everything inside me was a storm. My mind kept replaying the scene over and over, Armaan with that woman. Their laughter, their closeness. It felt like a knife twisting deeper every time I thought about it. Was I imagining things? Was I just jealous or paranoid? I asked myself the same questions every day.
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.
Or paranoid. I asked myself the same questions every day, but the answer never changed. Deep down, I knew the truth was there, lurking beneath the surface, waiting to crush me. I kept staring at his phone screen in my mind. "Can't wait to see you tonight." Who was she? Why was he hiding this from me? And more importantly, why did it feel like I was the only one trapped in this marriage? I wanted to confront him, to scream and demand answers. But every time I tried, fear clutched my throat. What if I was wrong? What if this destroyed what little we had left? One evening, I finally couldn't hold it in anymore. I sat across from Armaan at dinner, my hands trembling. The candlelight flickered between us like a silent witness. "Armaan," I began softly, "there's something I need to ask." He looked up, eyes calm but guarded. "What is it?" I took a deep breath, searching his face for any sign of guilt. "Your phone that night. Who was the woman in the messages?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached for his glass, swirling the wine slowly. "Aaliya, you're reading too much into things." "I saw you," I whispered, my voice cracking. "At the cafe. You were with her." He finally looked me in the eyes, and for a moment, I thought I'd see remorse. But instead, there was something colder, a flicker of impatience. "It's complicated," he said. "You wouldn't understand." His words stung more than I expected, like I was a child, kept in the dark. That night, I lay awake, wrestling with my own doubts. Was I just overthinking? Was I too fragile for this marriage? Or was he really hiding a part of his life from me, a part that could destroy everything? I remembered Hina's words when I told her what I'd seen. "You deserve to know the truth, Aaliya. Don't let him make you question your own instincts." How do you fight when the person you trusted most looks at you like you're the enemy? Days turned into weeks. I started watching him more closely, looking for cracks in his carefully built facade. Sometimes, he would come home late without explanation. Other times, his phone would buzz and he'd glance at it nervously before locking it away. One evening, I caught myself standing outside the door of his study, listening. I could hear hushed voices, his and another woman's. I pressed my ear harder, heart pounding. "You don't have to worry about her anymore," he said in a low voice. Her reply was soft but firm. "Are you sure this will end well?" I stepped back, tears blurring my vision. Was I living with a stranger? Someone who could say things like that without a second thought? The loneliness was suffocating. I was surrounded by people, yet completely alone. I wanted to scream at my family, at Armaan, at the world. But instead, I bottled it up, swallowing my pain day after day. At times I found myself talking to my reflection in the mirror, asking, who am I in all of this? Am I just a pawn in their game? Or is there still a chance to rewrite my own story? Just when I thought I had reached the bottom of this nightmare, life threw me into a pit darker than I ever imagined. It started with a phone call, a voice I didn't recognize, but the words cut through me like ice. "Meet me tonight. I have something you need to see." I hesitated. My heart screamed for me to hang up, but curiosity, or maybe desperation, won. That night, I arrived at a quiet park far from the city's glitter. The moon hung low, casting long shadows, and the air was thick with tension. A figure stepped out from behind a tree, a woman, mid-30s, eyes sharp and tired. "I'm Zara," she said quietly. "I used to work for Armaan's family." My stomach twisted. "What do you want from me?" I asked, voice barely a whisper. She sighed. "You deserve to know the truth. Armaan isn't just playing with your heart, he's been hiding a second family." A second family. My breath caught in my throat. Zara pulled out a thick envelope, handing it to me with trembling hands. Inside were photos of Armaan with another woman, a woman I had never seen before, holding a baby. A small, innocent baby who looked nothing like me. I stared at the pictures, disbelief burning my eyes. How could he? How long had this been going on? Zara's voice broke through my shock. "He's been living two lives, and your family they knew." I felt my world crumble. The people who forced this marriage on me, they had lied. They had traded my happiness for secrets and deals. Tears streamed down my face. Rage and betrayal surged through my veins. "I won't be your pawn anymore," I whispered, the fire inside me igniting. Zara nodded. "I wanted to warn you before it was too late." That night, alone in my room, I realized this wasn't just a broken engagement. It was a web of lies, betrayal, and family secrets that threatened to consume me. And now, I had a choice. Fight or disappear. I couldn't wait any longer. I needed answers. I needed him to look me in the eyes and explain every lie, every secret he'd buried beneath the surface. That night, I stood at the grand door of Armaan's family mansion, heart pounding like a drum in my chest. I rehearsed what I would say, how I would demand the truth. When the door opened, he stood there calm, composed, but I saw a flicker of something beneath the surface. Fear? Guilt? "Armaan," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "We need to talk, now." He stepped aside, letting me in without a word. We sat in the drawing room, the silence between us thick and suffocating. Finally, I broke it. "I know everything," I whispered. "The messages, the woman, the baby." His eyes darkened, and for a moment I thought he might lash out. But instead, he sighed and looked away. "Yes," he said quietly. "It's true." My chest tightened. "Why? How could you do this to me? To us?" He ran a hand through his hair, frustration and pain mixing in his gaze. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," he said. "She's from a past I couldn't escape. I tried to end it. I really did. But some promises aren't that easy to break." My mind reeled. "Promises? What kind of promises?"
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.
Promises? What kind of promises? He hesitated, then told me everything, a story of an arranged marriage he never wanted, a child he never planned for, and a woman trapped in a cycle of manipulation and threat. You think this makes it okay? I snapped, tears threatening to fall. You lied to me every day. You let me believe in a future that was never real. His gaze softened, but it didn't erase the betrayal. Steps. I'm sorry, he said simply. But I needed to protect you and my family. I stood up, shaking with anger and heartbreak. Protect me? By hiding the truth? By betraying me with lies? He reached out to me, but I stepped back. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said, voice breaking. Maybe I never will. At that moment, the door opened behind him. Hannah stepped in, eyes blazing. You lied to all of us, she said coldly. And now, Aaliya deserves the truth from everyone. Armaan's family emerged, faces a mix of shame and defiance. The walls I thought protected me crumbled in front of my eyes. I realized then this wasn't just about Armaan. It was about a family willing to sacrifice anyone for their own secrets, and I was done being their victim. The days after that night felt like a blur. The mansion's grand halls no longer held their charm for me. They echoed with whispered secrets and hollow promises. I packed my bags quietly, the weight of betrayal heavier than any suitcase. I didn't look back as I stepped out into the cool morning air. For once, I chose myself over the tangled web of lies that had suffocated me. I found a small apartment downtown Simple, far from the opulence and deceit of Armaan's world. Here, I wasn't just a betrayed fiancé. I was Aaliya again, the woman who still dreamed of love and trust, even if it was shattered now. Hina was my anchor during those stormy days. She stood by me when the rest of the world seemed to turn away. You're stronger than you know, she reminded me one night, her voice soft but fierce. And this is just the beginning of your story, not the end. I took those words to heart. Bit by bit, I rebuilt myself from the ruins of lies. I went back to school, found a job, and surrounded myself with people who loved me for who I was not, for what I could offer, or what secrets I carried. But even as I moved forward, a shadow lingered, a reminder that some wounds run deep. One afternoon, as I was closing my small boutique, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. You think it's over? You don't know the half of it. Watch your back. My heart clenched. The threat was clear. The family that had tried to control me wasn't ready to let go. Yet this time, I wasn't afraid. I had learned to fight not just for myself, but for the truth. I stared out at the city skyline, feeling the cold wind brush against my face. Whatever came next, I was ready. Because sometimes, the people who hurt us the most think they have all the power. But the real strength is in rising after the fallen, claiming your own destiny. As I locked the boutique door and turned away, a quiet resolve settled in my soul. This was not the end. It was just the beginning of a new chapter written by me, on my own terms. And whatever shadows lurked in the past, I was no longer their prisoner.